everyone, this is Chris. Thank you for joining me. So today's video is about jewelry making and tools, more specific tools that I use for jewelry making. So I'm not going to say these are the only tools or are the best tools. They're just the tools I use and I have used for a very long time. There are many more sophisticated tools. I just wanted to show you that you can have a good collection of ones without spending too much money. But from the beginning, let me tell you to invest a little bit in your tools, because if you buy something too cheap, you might not be happy with it, so you're going to buy another one, or it's going to be damaged very quickly, and afterwards you will understand that it's not going to be as economical as you would think because you didn't buy something expensive. So put the price into a tool, and maybe more specifically into cutting tools that we will talk about in a minute, because these are, I think they are the most important things in jewelry making. So first, let me talk about the flat nose pliers. They come in a variety of shapes. Some of them are curved, some of them are large, some of them are pointy. I personally like the pointy ones because that's the one I use the most. Let me come a little closer. And you've got two different ones, whatever the shape is, or you see this one is much larger. I barely ever use this one, but I like the pointy ones because you can grab them anywhere. You can go into, when your necklace is done and you need to grab a little piece of wire, you can really go in there. And you have two different big families, one with teeth and one without. I think you should have maybe both, but it's important to have some pliers that are completely flat here, that has no tooth to it, because when you, for example, use aluminum wire, usually they're just coated on the top. And if you use something that has some tooth, it's going to indent it, and you're going to see the other color, the original color underneath, and it's not nice looking at. So having some totally flat ones are going to be good, but I think you need to have both depending on what you're going to need or your uses, you know what I mean. The round shaped ones, I do have one somewhere. I never use it. Okay, now let's talk about the round nose pliers. These are the one that you use to make your loops. And the first thing I want to tell you, make sure when you buy it, try to be able to have them in your hands. And make sure about this thing. I've said that in the past. I'm going to say it again. So there's two big differences. First, this one here has a longer part here than this one. Already, I prefer this one. But the other thing that is important here is that when you look at it in between the jaws, you barely don't see any gap. There's just a tiny one maybe here, but it's very small. Here you see when I put my finger, a big gap in between the jaws. And this is not good. It's not as useful. It's going to be a pain in the back. Why? Because when you're going to put your wire in to make your loop, well, guess what's going to happen? It's falling. There is no way it's going to grab it unless maybe that part would be much thicker. It's not good. You're going to lose it all the time. So it's really not handy. But this one here, if I put it on, it's grabbing onto it. It's going nowhere. Can you see that? So this is a good tool. Even though I didn't put a big price in it, well, you know what? For once, I'm really happy because it does perfectly work. It does a job, and it's excellent. So I will try to put the link of this one. This is very average, but I use it all the time, and I have a long length here, different sizes to use to make my loops smaller to bigger. This one is way too small around here. I don't have a lot of place to work on. All right, then I'm going to talk about crimp bead tools. So this is the first one I had. This is the second one I bought more recently. So they more or less do the same job, which means crimping crimp tubes and crimp beads. But this one, there's only one or maybe two size crimp beads you can use. This goes up to 4 sizes, so it's called 4-in-1. The brand is Xuron. It's Xuron. Xuron. I will put the link. I bought this on an American website. I think it's Beadaholic. Very good website. That's where I got it. That's the most expensive of these. It's maybe around $30, $40. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that because that was a long time ago. But it allows you to take from the smallest to the biggest crimp beads. So if you have to buy only one, forget that one, buy this one, because even the smallest tubes or crimp beads will fit in here, and it's excellent, and it's really pointy. You can get in there. I use it sometimes for other things because it's so small. When I need to, you know, sometimes fiddle a little bit and get a little piece of wire, I can use this as well. It's perfect. So that's the one I would go, forget that one. Then cutters. Cutters are so important. Please buy the right one. Put the price in that tool, because if you do, you'll probably keep it forever. So you've got two different ones. These are the average tools that you can find in most of your improvement stores. They're not bad, but they're not as good as these. These are probably a bit more expensive, but I like it for many reasons. First, it's a little smaller. So if you need, again, to get into a hidden place to cut your wire, this is going to fit more easily. For example, you have finished a bracelet. You can go in there and cut your access wire much more easily because it's very pointy and it's small than this big one here. And it cuts much better. And also, as you can see, because of the shape here, it's going more on an angle. You can get into there better. And it cuts all kinds of wire, including the most hard of the wires. Then this one sometimes only cuts really well if you start from the beginning here. So I would forget that, and I would buy something like this. Then you have also this one. So this one has some plastic or rubber that you can change normally. You can take it off and put some more onto it. This is the kind of tool you're maybe not going to use that often, but it is useful if you want to straighten a piece of wire. Like, for example, this one is a bit kinked in some places and it's not straight. Well, this is going to be useful to straighten it up. Go slowly. It's going to take some time. You can grab it out here with a plier to help you, and then put it straight. It's always better to do this with this kind of tool than trying to do it with your hands, because you're going to bend it on another place. This is much better. You can use it on a small surface like here, or on a bigger piece of wire on a spool, for example, and it's going to be perfect. Take your time, and when it's really indented in here, take it away, throw it away, and buy others. Make sure that when you buy this tool, wherever you buy it, you can have the exchange, the refills if you wish, on the same website. It's going to be easier for you to buy afterwards. So this is something I would consider buying because it is useful instead of wasting things and throwing them away. Then I also have this tool. I bought this in the beginning when I was beginning my jewelry stuff because I didn't really know how to make a loop. And actually, I don't think it is so useful to have this. It's better if you practice with that tool to make your loops than to use this, because sometimes you need to maybe correct something while you're making your necklace, for example. This thing is so big that you won't be able to get in there and fix it and make it maybe a little tighter or something. So I would not really bother with this. What I would consider is buying cheap wire, something really not expensive, and practice. Practice and practice on how to make your loops. So let me show you. I'm going to come a little closer here just to as a reminder. And I'm going to take an average size loop. So you've got your wire here, and you need to make a loop on the top. So stay about a little finger above, okay? That's the minimum. Maybe take a little bit bigger, but your loop is going to be bigger. Then you put this onto an angle, a 90-degree angle, like so. It's a bit more. It's okay. Then what I like to do, I put my fingers towards the ceiling, and I put the edge of my wire straight to my tool. When you put your finger there, you shouldn't feel anything, okay? Then you're going to turn it. You're going to go one way completely around here. And you're going to do that. Your loop now is almost done. It is still open. So if you need to put something on it, like maybe some pearls or beads, you can. And then you just need to come back and close it. And I need to straighten it. This wire is a bit too soft. It's hard to work with. But then your loop is done. So you need to practice this over and over again. And this tool, you won't need it. I don't think it's that easy to work with. I'm going to show you. I'm going to take another wire. Let me take this one. No, it's already done. So let's say that I'm going to put it straight. So for example, if I want to make a big loop here, I need to put my wire up to the edge there. Okay, again. Turn this over. Let go. My loop is almost done. I need to put it back in here and put this straight. I don't know if it was really, I hope you saw something. I wonder if it's not too blurry. So it does work. I'm not saying it's not working, but it's better to work with the other tool and just practice, because this is quite expensive actually, and you won't be able to use it as so often. I think for me it's much quicker to do that now that I'm used to it than to use this tool. It seems for me that it takes more time to use that than the other thing, but it works. So I just wanted to tell you that it does exist. You may want this as a beginner, but afterwards you won't use it anymore. I don't use it any longer. What else? You have a mandrel like this one. I think it's called a mandrel. I'm not sure. This one is to make also some jump rings. Sometimes you want to make a whole bunch of jump rings because you don't have the right size. I have different packs of jump rings, different sizes from the biggest to the smallest, but sometimes I don't have the exact size I want. So this can be useful, but you know what? You can also use a pencil. You can use the back of a paintbrush. You can use anything that is round to make your own jump rings. Go all the way up, all the way around, I mean, and then cut, and you have made yourself a customized jump ring. Now, one of the last things I wanted to talk about are these tools. These are files, and I think they're also very interesting to use in jewelry making, because sometimes it happened to me last time with some rings. There's a little place where I could not go with my cutter, and I did use one of these to get in there and file it because it was hurting my finger. So these are very convenient. You don't have to put a big price on these. I think the 5 of these I bought on Amazon was around maybe, I don't know, under $10 for sure. But they're going to last quite a long time. Sometimes you need one of these rounded ones to get into a bead and make the hole a bit better, or open a hole. Sometimes they have something in it, so that's going to be nice. And the others are just to file when something is poking out. So I would recommend investing in some of these as well. And the very last thing I'm going to talk about is glue, because that's also important in jewelry making. So one of my go-to glue is E6000. That's one of the best. This one is a really big one. You have smaller ones that have a finer tip. This one is huge here. But I think you may have some applicators you can put on. But that's the best glue ever. I'm not paid to say that, but it really glues everything on everything. And my ultimate try is to glue metal on metal, glass on glass, and glass on metal. And it does work. It takes a 12-hour minimum time to dry, and I think it needs 24 hours to completely cure, but it is an excellent glue. The only thing that is you don't find it everywhere. I live in France. I can find it. There's only one really nice place where I can find it for a good price, because Amazon is way too expensive. Otherwise, maybe in your country, I'm showing you this, you might also find this glue. I think this one is made in Germany, or it has at least a German name. I'm not sure where it is made in. That's way too small. I can't read it. But this one also glues everything on everything. It's almost as strong as E6000, but you can find it more easily in France and in other countries in Europe as well. I know that this one, by the way, is kind of toxic, so you better use it in a very well ventilated area. I would guess that any kind of strong glue would do the same, including these types of glue. I'm not going to show you the brand, but these type of quick drying glues are also toxic. So don't put your head just over it. Open the window or maybe wear a mask just to be in the safety zone. That's really important. By the way, I wanted to show you this. I bought that on Wish. Somebody told me that it was as good as E6000. It's not. It has a fine tip applicator, but that's the only thing interested in this glue. It's probably good for paper, but that's it. I am not going to use this to glue it on anything because it's bad. Okay, it's just bad, at least for jewelry making, or like I said, my ultimate try is to glue metal on metal and glass on glass. It does not work. It falls apart by itself. Not even have to touch it. It just goes blunk. It falls. So if you want to buy something like glue, buy the real one. Don't try to buy anything that looks like it. Sometimes it's called F. It's not the right one. E is the one to go. Or this one has a lit. Not sure about the pronunciation, but very good glue. This one is around, I think it's almost the same price, actually. But yeah, depending on where you live. And if you have any advice to give to other people, depending on your country, please share it. Leave your links below if you can, because sometimes YouTube don't allow to leave links, but say, hey, I know that brand in this country works as fine and it's maybe cheaper. Please share. That's a community. Everybody shares tips. So that's what it's made for. There's something I forgot that I want to throw in this video is these two tools. And I think they're very handy, even though you have no problems with your eyes. And they're magnifiers and they're really great. This one, again, you put it around your neck. Some of them come with a light. This one doesn't, but I don't really need it because I have a really strong light in front of me. And it's very handy. You can tilt it on this side. You can tilt it here also. This rests on your chest. It doesn't hurt at all. It's not too heavy. It's perfect when you're making very tiny things. And I like to use this to make sure my jump rings are really well closed, because you can really make, you can zoom in a lot and it's good. Otherwise, you have this tool again. That is, you can find this one very easily on Amazon. I think it's under 15 bucks or so. So it's got a magnifier too, and it has two other hands. I think they're called hands. They're clips. They're very strong, and everything, you can put it in all the directions you want. You can put this one here. This bottom piece here, this foot, is quite heavy, so you can really arrange that as you wish. You've got these blockers there. This also can be moved all around, and I think it's very convenient. Sometimes you need another hand when you need to put some glue, so you can clip something here, then use your free hands to put the glue, let it dry, come back later. I think it's really convenient. I don't use it every day, but I use it every so often. That I still think it's something not expensive at all that you might use over and over again in many projects. So for me, I think it's it. I think I've shared everything I could about tools, because that was mainly about tools. I am not going to talk about, you know, the different findings, because there are so many for your closures. It's going to be this and that. There's so many stuff you can buy. That's just the main tools I have. I know that some people also use a hammer with a metallic part underneath to squish the metal to make it like more sturdy. I don't have that yet. I'm not sure I'm going to invest in that, but there's so many other tools. I am not a professional in jewelry making. I'm not completely a beginner either. I'm just kind of in the middle, and all the tools I have shared with you tonight, today actually, I'm sorry, there is a fly just coming in, are the ones that I use always, over and over and over again, and they're perfect to me. Oh yeah, I have this also, I almost forgot. That's a bead stopper. That is really handy, but you know what? If you can't find it, use tape. That's it for me. Maybe I forgot something. So if you have other ideas about videos I would make, I would be happy to help you in any way. Leave me your messages below or your comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Please give me some thumbs up for this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and share on social medias. I love that, and it helps my channel grow as well. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care, and see you soon.